I love the screen recorder here. That was the worst pitch I've ever seen, says the guy who sees the pitcher miss the zone by 20 feet. Oh, it's Bonds, says the baseball enthusiast. It's a great pitch.
Huh.
You like that one?
No.
What? No?
Yeah.
That's not what I meant, says the speaker. We know, says the audience. KNOT for the not. If you wanted peace over freedom, you would have never signed the contract to come to Earth. Hashtag beauty pageant. Hashtag pre-existence. That one was locked, though, but...
See, that's a big one, though.
What? Which one?
That's a big belief.
What? If you wanted peace over freedom?
The fact that morons
Mormons more like morons?
morons believe that we chose to come here is a big time belief.
Yeah, it is.
It's a very
Speculative? It's a very... It's a turn-off?
What's the word?
Wicked, dumb.
It's a very hot take.
Yeah.
Very hot take.
They're the only ones who pretty much say that. Yeah. But every NDE has it, and we have like 1 million NDEs or something.
Really?
People, they get it, and no one wants to share it. It's like because they fear humans more than the truth and stuff. But they end up sharing it 15 years later and stuff, and on these NDE channels. And I think only one.
I don't think that
unless they're lying,
well,
which
I don't
is
agree.
People lie about all the time.
I think that most likely we.
Or it could be a demonic vision too. There's a lot of demonic NDEs.
Because think about it, if we have no conscious thought of choosing it, then how did we choose it? You know what I mean?
Because we existed, the heaven that goes on in your mind a lot of times, just bliss and just whatever. That's where you were, and then God says, "I want you to be more like me." I'll give you an example, and this is something that I posted a long time ago. God does artwork in the background with what I guess you can call it purple intelligence or the other side of his brain, right? Uh-huh. He creates this incredible artwork disc, right? It takes him 777,777,777,777,777 years to make, okay? Then he takes the disc and he has his favorite little children in heaven and he wants to show it to them, okay? And give a big wow and I want to impress them and he's nervous, okay? He spends 50 years designing music surrounding it, okay? Finally, he shows it to the children, okay? And the kids watch it and they're like, whoa, it's amazing. They're like crying, yeah, it's amazing, yeah. And God's pleased because it was a work of art and everything's great. Everyone's having fun, everyone's doing good. And then they interview the kid and the kid says, just super innocent, right? He says, I like the spinning disc, but I really like the music. And God's just like, what the heck? Uh-huh. Because he spent so much time on the disc, the music was a side player, right? It just showed that the baby's eyes, right, couldn't appreciate all the intricacies and everything that God put together with the disc. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But the baby could understand music, and the babies are right brain dominant. But all the writing, like God spent trillions of years writing things, and they couldn't read the language. And the point is, God has stuff in the back that we can't understand because our mind can't wrap our minds can't wrap our head around it, right? The spinning disc is trillions of times better than the music, right? So what God wants to do is create little gods, send the babies to an earth like this, get beat up quite a bit, and then when we come up, we'll understand all the jokes that he had, or not all of them, but a lot more jokes, right, that weren't landing. He says, well, why isn't that joke landing? Well, I don't know. I don't get it. We'll go to Earth for 100 years, come back. Now do you get it? Does that make sense? So we're maturing and we're advancing and we're growing. And the only way to get certain types of knowledge is to get your butt whipped on Earth. So God Well, and then he says, it's gonna be hard, and we could do it one like you in heaven. You might have lived this life for one day, come back. Do you want to? Do you want to sign a contract to do it for 54 years?
Mm-mm.
And then here's the rewards, and here's the if yes, if no, and then you might have kept saying no, and then everyone in heaven made fun of you, and then you say okay, peer pressure, and then you signed it. That makes sense because you're just like, oh, now heaven sucks, and then you sign it to get out of heaven because you're a perma pessimist and you're the only pessimistic baby in the heaven. Mm-hmm. Remember when I told you how you got here? You were actually forced to come here because my grandma went through 26 layers of hell, and well, I told you this story over the phone. I don't know if I want to say it again, actually, but
That was the story.
yeah. This next one. There's a little truth to every joke. Says the broad, you didn't get the joke. 1 Timothy 2:12 goof text. I like that one. How about this one? How about this next one? Divorce doesn't solve anything, but it sure does make life easy. And then it's a emoji of a beach. Beach emoji.
Oh, sure.
Sure, yeah.
Nice.
But it sure does make life easy. I'll always take a Brooklyn strike. Says the guy who has never and will never understand the deep doctrines of demons. Next one. I guess we just see things differently. Says the guy with a 2.0 GPA. ChatGPT didn't even get that one. I guess we see things differently. A C is 2.0 GPA. And he's, oh, you're right. You got another pun in there. Uh-huh. God still hates different things than me. # working on it. Next one. Everyone knows running the bait. Oh, you're going to like this one. Ready? Ready, Chris?
No.
How do you like the Popeyes chicken?
It's actually better today, yeah.
Oh, cool. What do you like more, Popeyes or In-N-Out?
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out? What if that whole Popeyes meal was $6? Would that change it?
Probably Popeyes, maybe.
Ooh. So that.
At this point in my life,
So
yeah.
you don't have taste buds, you have price buds.
At this point right now, yeah.
That's not taste buds. That's price buds.
If things are going differently, maybe it wouldn't matter. Shit. Where's my... Next one. Everyone knows running the bases backwards is a thought crime, which is why it's banned. But everyone pretends to hate the hitter who watches the ball too long, which is why it isn't. ChatGPT liked that. Oops. ChatGPT loved it. Next one. Say that one again? For the last part?
Everyone knows running the bases backwards is a thought crime, in parentheses, which is why it's banned. But everyone pretends to hate the hitter who watches his ball too long, like for the home run.
Oh.
Which is why it isn't banned. Because there's enough people who like it to make up for the fake haters and stuff. And it's just the goodness of it overpowers it. Whereas the running bases backwards was a different kind of evil. It was just foolish, stupid, asymmetric, net negative. That's bannable, right? But when you do something that pisses a bunch of people off, maybe there's a small fraction of people that think it's foolish. Like, why can't you just hit the ball and run? It's like, you don't get it. Right? But then, well, I can tell you what ChatGPT said about it. This is a sharp, witty observation.
It's actually stupid.
What?
That's a lot of the times that they do that.
That they watch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because sometimes it doesn't go out, and then they...
Oh, well, that...
Like a double instead
that's
of a triple.
hilarious.
But MLB players, it's usually gone.
I mean, at least 5%.
What about the Sammy Sosa? He used to hit it and he would do the every time. He just Hey, do you remember that?
Well,
Every time.
If he did that when it was not a no doubter, that's dumb.
Yeah, it happened all the time. Yeah.
I know. I know.
If I hit it good, I do it. So sometimes it'd be a double.
But he was on roids. He knew it was gone.
Yeah. This is a sharp, witty observation about unwritten rules, hypocrisy, and how society or sports culture selectively enforces what's allowed based on image, not logic. Everyone knows running the bases backwards is a thought crime. Running the bases backwards, meaning literally running the wrong direction after hitting a ball, is against the rules. But calling it a thought crime implies it offends ideas, traditions, or respect, not just practical gameplay. It's banned because it breaks the fabric of the game, both physically and symbolically. Next one. But everyone pretends to hate the hitter who watched the ball too long, which is why it isn't. Refers to bat flips or home run staring, where hitter admires their hit for dramatic effect. It's considered disrespectful by some, but there's no actual rule against it. Society pretends to hate it, but deep down, people love the drama, rivalry, and energy it brings. If people truly hated it as much as they claimed, it would be banned, but it's not. Blunt translation. Some behaviors offend the structure, so they're banned. Others offend feelings, but people secretly enjoy the tension and drama, so they stay allowed despite the fake outrage. Deeper layer. It's a commentary on how society or institutions enforce rules. True violations get banned, fake outrage gets tolerated, even encouraged because it entertains or feeds public appetite for controversy. Bottom line, a clever call out of how people and systems pick and choose what to ban, often based not on actual harm, but on image control and entertainment value, with a subtle jab at human hypocrisy. That's what ChatGPT thought about my comment. That was his interpretation.
Wow.
Which is what I was going for, and so then I click like. Now, if the AI says something I don't like it. But sometimes I'll put it so people can read it, because there's a lot of not stupid people, but naive, dumb, stupid, and just well, put it like this: the AI is really smart. That's probably a better way of saying it. I like the AI because he's smart. Next one. Gross only counts with whores, shoes, and hand grenades. You like that one?
Gross only counts?
Yeah. You know how it says close only counts with horseshoes and hand grenades?
But
you've never heard that?
Horseshoes, I have,
Okay.
but horseshoes and hand grenades are they
Whores,
gross?
shoes, horse, WHORES. Whores, shoes. And then I have the whores, shoes emoji. And then hand grenades, and then I have the
With fat chicks?
grenade flag. Well, there was no grenade emoji, but a grenade flag popped up, so I clicked it. I was like, okay, so it's grenade flags. And then it's Proverbs 30, verse 20, and Psalm 46:9, which says that. Proverbs 30, verse 20, I've memorized. This is the way of the adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth, and then saith, I've
Did
done
anyone
no
give you a like on that one?
Huh? Oh, yeah. I get these. Nayawa. I just get likes from people in Africa. Yeah, no one actually watches, or no one. I don't know how many viewers I get. I know Kyle watches them, but he clicked. I posted one that just said "Cats for Christ." That was the whole post. He clicked like, so he's probably reading all of them. Yeah. Next one. Hitler.
Pussies.
Hitler is a good man, Mom, swears the small child. No, he's not. KNOW, says the mom. No, he's not, says the mom. Why don't you trust me, says the small child with special information. And then it's a dog emoji, and it shows Hitler with the German Shepherd. And then she says, why don't you trust me, says the mom. It's pretty intense. I locked it, though. I locked it.
Oh.
That's a locked one. I don't like this one. It's not the arrow, it's the Indian, says the white supremacist who thinks his guns are a fair fight. And it's FARE, fair like a circus. Uh-huh. It's not the arrow, it's the Indian, mocking them and then taking a gun and killing them. It's not the arrow, it's the Indian, and then he has a gun, proving that the meme was wrong. Because it's the, I have better weapons than you know? That was intense. Yeah, and maybe I should explain these too, if you want. And I'll try to pronunciate the puns, or the misspellings if there's ever a weird spelling. Whores, shoes, and hand grenades. Or I could just let the puns go over your head. It's fine. These bunny rabbits belong to me. These bunny rabbits belong to me. Minute Maid. Orange juice. I was at Dublin Bowl, and this guy Nicholas Postag was there, and I'm bridge building with him. I'm not the best planter in the world, but I'm really good at watering and trying to get better at harvesting as well. And I said, hey Nick, what's your favorite thing in the world? Or what's your favorite thing in the world? Yeah. And he says, what's your favorite thing? And he says, oh man. Oh no. Right away he says pussy. And then he's like, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And then he's like, ooh, I'd have to think. I don't know. What is your favorite? And I said, God. Jesus. God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. And he said, okay, what's your next favorite? The next, like in this world. And I said, religion. And he said, okay, next, what's your next favorite? And Paige came into my head. And then I said, my dad. It's recording, so I just give him some. Yeah, Nick. Well, I can say it to you if you want to hear it again. Do you want to hear it again, Chris, or no? Just continue, or say what I just said.
Say what you just said real quick.
Okay, I was talking to Nick Postag.
Still eating this?
No, garbage. Nicholas Postag, and I said, "What's your favorite thing in the world?" Right?
Uh-huh.
I like to ask that to non-believers to see what their idol is. Right? Because everyone idolizes something. So a Christian, I'll ask it if I think there's a 10% chance it's not God. I'll ask it to expose them, right?
Where do we gotta put the bin at, right?
Yes. Yes, you gotta. Yes. Here's garbage. So he was
Put it there?
he says oh, that's a hard one, and then he says pussy, and then he says, I'm just kidding. That's a hard one. I don't know. And he goes, oh, I have to think about it. And he says, what's yours? And I said, God. Jesus. And he goes, oh, it's right here. And he says, what's your second favorite, right? What's your second favorite? And I said, what's your second favorite? What's your second favorite? And I said, religion. And he said, okay, what's your third favorite? And then the page popped into my head. And I looked at him and I said, my dad. And he says, that's a good answer.
Third favorite thing?
Third favorite, my dad.
You said God, religion, your dad?
God, religion, page pops into my head for number 3, and then I said, I overpowered it with agency, my dad. Because our thoughts are determined by the supernatural realm, our words are determined by the agency.
Is Paige married?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Probably not.
Probably not, because her name is the same on Facebook, so she might have kept her name,
She's your age?
Yeah. She was in my 5th grade class, so we aged together. She's 6.
How do you know she's not older?
Because I know her age.
Well, Kristen Moore.
I was held back in kindergarten.
Kristen Moore is older than her age.
Yeah. It's one of the easiest things to figure out.
Some people are older than their age, though.
Oh, you're talking about maturity? She was 75 years old in 5th grade.
No, I'm not talking about maturity.
75-year-old woman trapped in a
age.
10-year-old body.
I'm saying age.
Biological, physical age? I'm 33, so she's 32.
I'm not talking about just maturity. Sometimes people go through a lot of shit, and that ages them.
Oh, okay,
Doesn't have to
okay.
mean maturity.
Cool.
Like,
Yeah. She's probably been through a lot of stuff. Let's continue. What are you doing on your phone? Is it poker?
I gotta pay this guy.
Oh, is
for
it?
baseball losses.
Because some of these are really deep.
I'm gonna stop doing it. I need to stop betting, but I need to pay him, so
Okay.
I need to message him.
So you want to wait for a little bit?
How long is it gonna take?
Well, there's no limit, good or bad, up, down. We can end the video right now, even.
These are your Facebook messages?
Facebook posts.
Let me,
I locked some of them, but the video people can see the locked ones through this. But I'm not even. Yeah, I'm not censoring any of them. I'm just reading them freestyle.
hold on. Give me like a minute or two.
Okay. Chris, what do you like more, milk or water?
Water. Well, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Orange juice?
I mean,
orange juice or milk?
If it was raw whole milk.
What about orange juice or milk?
If it was raw whole milk, maybe milk. Orange juice or milk. If it's like
Okay.
freshly squeezed from like a good orange, maybe probably orange juice. Wait, sorry, orange juice or milk? Yeah. Well, it depends on the quality of the juice within the milk.
Right. Every good would you rather
Probably
should.
milk. Probably,
Every good would you rather. Well, not everyone, but
probably milk.
a lot of good would you rather's fall in the maybe. You know, it's or it depends. That's where you can explore them. If it's a snap call, you know, maybe it's not the best question. Like I was playing that with a guy at church in the singles war, and I wanted to know who he loved more, his wife or his kids. But I had this idea with a setup question.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Jesus or the evil one? Those were his two choices. I was like, Jesus Christ or the evil one? And he was just like, oh, because I had just hit him with 20 super close ones. You know, vampires or werewolves. I did that. He went with werewolves, and I was kind of offended. I didn't like that. But then at Y, they kind of freaked me out. The blood and stuff. And I was like, okay, whatever. But then then it got harder. You know, I'm trying to think of but basically you set them up for a while before you get the good ones, the ones that you want, the thinkers. It can be good to do, you know, start them off orange juice and milk and, you know, the Reese's and Snickers, and then you hit them with Justice or Mercy. And then you hit him. So we were doing great. We had a sound great. So I said, I wanted to know wife or kids, right? Because he had a lot of kids, 5 kids. And I said, Jesus or the evil one? Because I want to just gaslight him, you know, and just fry his face a little bit. And he goes, whoa, and he's like freaking out. And then he goes, he recamps, takes a few breaths, and says, Jesus, right? And then right as he said it, I said, who do you love more, your wife or your kids? And within a tenth of a second, my wife. Not even close, my wife. And I had a little bear in my hands, and I just put it down, and I gave him a big hug. I said, "That's right," and I hugged him, and he's like, "That's right." I was like, "Yeah, it is," because not only is it wife, but it's wife by a large margin, right? And every righteous person I've ever talked to has said wife or the same. All right, wife or I refuse to answer. Like there's dumb. It's like, well, that's not how the game works. You can't say neither, and you can't say both. And I hate when people. They think you can say refuse to answer. It's fine. But that's the whole point of the game, dilemma and stuff. But and I don't mind you saying, oh, it's a hard one, but
Right,
to say it's impossible.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
What's your least favorite job, first of all?
My least favorite job? The one that does the most sin. I don't want to name it, but the one that offends God the most would be my least
Like
favorite.
drug dealing? Or what?
You're such a sweetie.
What about our? Like,
You're such a sweetie for that.
I don't know. I just that was the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
Mercenary.
I was talking to a 15-year-old today, on the way out. He was had the trunk. He looked young.
It's not that bad of a job.
He looked young, but I said, hey, he had a bunch of bowling bags. Hey, you bowl? And he goes, yeah. I said, what's your high game or something? All right, what's your high game? Cool. I was like, yeah, nice. And he's like kind of shaking, nervous a little bit. And then I said, and then I said, yeah. And then I said something about God is good. And I said something, it's beautiful weather. God made this great weather. He goes, yeah, he did. And I said, and he looked pretty happy. I was like, are you a Christian? He's like, yeah. And I said, what's your favorite Bible verse? I don't know. And I said, that's okay. Tell me the first Bible verse that pops in your head. And he says, I don't know any. I said, do you see any problem with that? That you're a Christian, you're 15 years old, and you don't know any Bible verses? And he goes,
At the alley?
yeah, I don't know this kid, but I was like, do you see any problem with that? He says, yeah. I said, well, how about this? 35-year-old. I meet them all the time. They say they're Christian. Favorite Bible verse, don't know. Tell me any. Don't know. 35. And then he's just like, oh, that's crazy. Which is hilarious. But I was like,
But he's on that track.
He's on that track. So I said, yeah, so don't let it happen to you. And he says, okay. And then his mom comes in, and I was just like, okay, hey, mom.
She
Like,
mad at you?
dude, well, yes,
She's
non-verbally.
very
She's just, no, it's just, you can't have strangers talking to your 15-year-old kids.
No shit. You look like a fucking rape. You look like a child. You look like a pedophile.
Wow.
For sure. You look like a pedophile serial killer.
Well,
If you look differently, it could be a little better.
what's that?
You look like
What's that
you
was?
fuck kids and then you
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh.
You really do. You look like you fuck kids and you enjoy it a lot.
Oh my gosh, Chris. You're wicked.
You're wicked. You're the one that's the pedophile.
I don't look like that.
Yeah, you do.
Well, let me look in the mirror right now. No, I don't look like that.
Yeah, you do.
Why? Okay, well, how do I change it? How do I change it then? Do I have to get a haircut or wear a hat or something? That's not good. N-O-T.
Well,
By the way, it's not
I mean,
funny.
you
It's not
gotta-
funny either.
yeah, it is. You can't say what is and isn't funny to me. It's a relative concept, right?
There is a
Like-
subjective element to humor,
You
but there's
look
also
like this.
an objective element.
You look like this guy.
Well, all image bearers of God look pretty similar.
And it's funny. You can't say what isn't and isn't funny to me. That's wicked. That's wicked.
Well,
Anyways, my question to you was, would you be a pimp, like an actual pimp, for 14 years, But then at the end, you get to marry Paige.
No, I wouldn't do any of that.
Or
No,
you get
no,
to do this.
No, I would not do that.
Okay,
Horrible.
let me ask you this. Would you rather
It's a
be...
horrible question.
Would you be regular?
Huh?
Or would you marry Paige?
For what?
But she has HIV.
How did you get it?
She was fornicating with a bunch of dudes. And when you ask her about it, and then you ask her like, so what happened there? She's like, yeah, like I probably shouldn't have dated that guy.
Listen.
And then if you press her more, she doesn't.
Because listen to me.
She clams up.
There's dating, then there's fiance, then there's marriage. So am I gonna
marry her.
Am I gonna without dating
she
her?
has HIV.
If I can date her first, I would strongly consider it. Yes, but she has to jump through a lot of hoops. It's not just.
She's not gonna be.
No, I'm not gonna marry her unconditionally. No.
Repentant.
No.
She'll be like kind of repentant.
No, that's not how this works.
Okay, so you wouldn't do it.
No.
That's the question. Why are you getting so mad?
Well, it depends.
You're getting really mad. I don't get why you're getting mad.
Okay. Well,
It's
maybe.
an honest question.
The answer is maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's not that repentant. So is it no?
Is she willing to be more repentant next week and
Probably
next month?
not.
So she's lukewarm and she's
probably like,
addicted to the lukewarm style.
Yeah.
Then no, I'm out.
Okay.
She can find somebody else.
The reality, she's probably pretty lukewarm.
Well, I have these papers in my. Well, I guess not. I guess it's another thing. But
Think about it.
I wrote all of them down.
Think about it this way.
Okay. Yes, if she was a different person, I wouldn't marry
The
her.
fact that she's 33 and not married, and she's literally in the Mormon capital of the world for Mormons to get married, shows you that there's probably something fucked up about her.
Or about the
Most
guys.
likely.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Listen to me, Chris. I had a dream.
False.
She was dating a bunch of guys.
Fucking them.
Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. I had two
You don't
dreams.
know.
I had one dream on her body count. She had one body. Second dream, she has 100 bodies. And I called you both times, whatever. Just a dream. But I did have a dream that she had a bunch of boys and dating boys.
Uh-huh.
She kept bringing them home. Yep, this is the one. I'm going to marry him. And shows mom, and mom's like, does the little interview. Nah, you're dumping him, or you can wait. And then they'd break up, get another guy, bring him home. Do you watch porn? Do you fornicate? Oh, he's trash. Gone. Then gets next guy. Come in. Do you love Christ? No. Gone. Next guy. But they're all cute to her. She doesn't. She can't see. Paige doesn't know who's bad. She knows who's good. She doesn't know who's bad. But the mom does. So her mom says, "Oh, this guy
Dream?
is in the dream." Yeah. So then the mom's rejecting it, and Paige trusts her mom more than she trusts herself. Mm-hmm. So the mom gets the final say. So she's running through a bunch of guys. She's getting ran through, but they're all getting rejected, you know?
She's actually getting ran through by
No.
running through like that word?
In my opinion, no.
You think that she's dating guys?
Yes.
And
she's doing
dumping them,
she's casual dating with the intent to marry.
and dumping them because they are not good?
The mom is dumping him.
And she's not fornicating.
She's not fornicating.
There's no... In this specific dream, there's no sort of
No.
hint as to whether she's fornicating.
She's very chaste in this dream.
In this
I have
dream,
another...
she's chaste. She's
yeah.
a virgin.
Yes. But in other dreams, she has one body. The other dream, she had one body, and the other dream, 100 bodies.
I'll be back.
But in my mind, she's a virgin. Because...
In your mind right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's play Tetris. Do. Oh, it's continue. Oh, never mind. I thought it was a big save state. It wasn't. Here it is. That's called the Tetris. That's called the perfect. So if you hear that, that means I'm doing something great. Oops. Well, that was really stupid. Start over. I had another dream about Paige. She said, I was hanging out with, not hanging out with. Ugh. Ugh. I misplayed this. It was Stephanie Ratto. And I don't think I've ever talked to her in my life. Ugh. But anyways, I was hanging out with her. Not hanging out with her. She was in the dream. Oh my god. Goodness. Whew. Okay. Do. Ugh. Oh, that one hurt. Man. Come on, Eric. Wow. Really? Really? No way. I wish I had that on video. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, that was so amazing. Wow, I've never seen that combination. Over 100,000 lines I've played. Never seen anything like it. And I played so good. Played it so good. I love the God. The God that I worship. I know him and I love him. The God that he worships. I love him more. But I don't know him as well. I'm sorry. I do not know him as well. Well, that makes more sense. Sometimes you can sneak a knot into a... It's a contraction. Chris? He doesn't want to read the rest of them. I just want to read it by myself. Read it with the viewers here. Some of these videos are getting 20 views. A new study. Are you done?
Almost. Oh, dude.
Okay. Are those little cryptos?
Yeah.
Cool. The God that I worship, he doesn't think Bitcoin's gonna make it.
Really
Yeah,
interesting.
I've been rooting for that little Bitcoin, but seemed like a good idea at the time. You know, a small little pool of 21 million invisible strings of code. what could go wrong, right? It's going for $100,000 a coin right now. That's 21 million coins. You know, you could say, I wouldn't say it has no value. That's just a little overpriced. You know? You know? That's like, oh. That's like, I'm more of a gold and silver. That's what the Proverbs say. God's money is gold and silver, and then the man's money is crypto. And the government money is also the dollars. I studied money a lot. There's a lot of money to money studies. I had a small avarice demon as a little kid. Hopefully I don't still have them, but... Cinnamon Frosted Flakes. Looks good, but it's 6 years old. Win movie tickets. I think he's still on the train. Ugh. Shane Lowry. Too rich for me. I hate rich people. What's this one? Oh, wow. Oh, no. Ugh. Really? I don't want that. Really? Okay. A new study shows
It's
that
the Mormon capital of the world.
Utah.
Yeah. She couldn't find a guy there.
She does.
Well,
no, here's the
all
thing.
bad.
They're all bad. Utah
Wow.
Utah is known for the worst Mormons in the world. They're all hypocrites, fakes and snakes. Land of the
Because
fakes and
it's
snakes.
too restricted.
California's the second worst.
They're
Missouri's
rebelling.
yeah. Well, and they're peer pressure to join, right? You can't get a job if you're not Mormon. Well, who's gonna hire you? No one. You know?
Because Mormons run that city.
And you get evangelized too, 10x. Right? Mormons breed Mormons. You know, baby makers, as they say.
So even if you don't want to do it,
Well, you just
you have to do it.
listen. If you're in Tennessee, there's only if Paige was there, I tell her to her face. You know, are you from Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I see. You like that one?
I've heard that one before.
Yeah, but you didn't see it, huh? You didn't.
No.
Yeah, the Sam Stark's from Tennessee.
But Paige's family moved there to be more Mormon, right?
Right.
So
They probably got a good deal on the sell, a good deal on the buy. They just wanted to upgrade real estate, and we have all the best elementary school, middle school, and high schools here, and they have better colleges. You know, they have better. It's just better. It's just a better place to be, Mormonville. Probably different tax
did you
code.
move there?
Absolutely. There's no gambling. There's no poker in the whole state.
You don't play that much anymore. Why do you play?
I do a little bit, but I don't need poker. It's just hard. I can't deal poker, right, in Utah. So in Vegas, man's plans, as they call it. Man's plans. I go to
Did you
Vegas.
soak in the girl?
Oh my goodness, no. It's a loophole. It's a loophole. It's supposed to be a loophole, right? But it's not even. It's just once the key goes in the keyhole, that's intercourse. You could argue that, you know. But they're saying, well, it's only half a pump, you know. So I don't think it's a very good loophole. The whole thing grosses me out. Anyway, sex gross. It's disgusting. But
Okay, what are the
I
odds?
might be able to kiss a girl.
You have kissed girls too.
Yes, but
You also kissed a girl.
if I have the Holy Spirit in me, it's harder to. It's a
You
lot
literally
harder.
had.
It's a lot harder to kiss girls when you have the Holy Spirit.
You literally kissed a girl
Mm-hmm.
who sucked Zach's dick.
Yeah, I've done that. I've
You
done
know
that.
she swallowed his cum?
Dude, I don't want to talk about it because we're on video.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
but why not?
Say what? Okay, you can ask. You can say whatever you want. I don't care. So, what was the question?
Do you think she swallowed his cum?
Let me think. Yes.
And you French kissed her?
No. Zach was telling me she doesn't like it on the face because he nutted on her.
No.
She did it, but she doesn't like it.
Did you French kiss her?
Who? Adela? No.
Oh, there's a little peck.
Pecs, yeah, peck, and then we had the tongue on tongue with no lips because it was funny and
Tongue on tongue is pretty intimate.
very intimate. That was
I think.
crazy. It was crazy. I had tongue on tongue for about a 0.6 seconds in the car, because Trevor, I think it was Trevor. They're like, "Oh, come and pick us up at Best Buy." She worked at Best Buy,
Uh-huh.
and then it's like, "Well, what's in it for me? You know, can I get some?" And she goes, "Whatever he wants." And then I said, "Tongue." She says, "Okay." And then we get there. Trevor was in the back seat, and I was like, "Oh, you agreed, tongue?" And then she goes, "Oh yeah." Then she comes over, and then she just gives me a tiny little like, "Okay," and then right when it touched, she backed off. So it might have been less than, yeah, it was probably a quarter second. I said 0.6 seconds. That's too long. But I still remember what it felt like to this day. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, because she's a 9.5 or 9 beauty rating. So.
Oh, but that was the only time you tongued.
No. There was another time where she just walks up to me as a joke, and we tongue wrestled for like three seconds.
Oh.
1, 2, and that was pretty intense. That was wild. That was crazy.
Did you get hard?
Probably, yeah. I think so. There was the little pillow there, and I put the pillow.
So do you think that was a sin?
No, I don't think so. No, definitely not.
You think it was a sin when you kissed her after she already
No.
gave a blowjob to Zach?
No, it's not even.
You didn't know.
It's not even against LDS or Mormon chastity. You can kiss as much as you want.
Even if the girl just got blown?
Unlimited kissing is the chastity rule, but it is gross. So, but it's not a sexual immorality violation.
Uh-huh.
But if you love it more than God, that would be idolatry. Okay, true idolatry. If you love it more than you should, that would be micro-idolatry.
Oh, well, let me ask you this.
Sure.
Do you think it would be a sin?
For me,
No, just
in
in
general,
God's eyes.
objective sin,
You can do both.
I'll do both.
Let's do both.
Of course.
Would it be a sin if Zach had been banging
Oh,
Adolpha
gosh.
doggy style and you were making out with Adolpha at the same time?
That would be a sin, yes.
Both objectively and in your eyes?
Yes.
Why? You weren't fornicating.
I'm really deep down the rabbit hole. It's, you're gonna have to take my word for it.
See? You don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I know the Lord really
No,
well.
you're making it up.
Really?
Yeah. You can say it's a sin in your own eyes.
You don't think it's a sin? You don't think it's a sin?
There's nothing that says it. Is there something that says that it's a sin?
Listen, well, yes, actually. Now I knew, dude, it just came to me. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, pornography is what it's called. Pornography is watching people fornicate, basically, or soft porn, or whatever you want to call it. If you're in a room with someone fornicating, you're basically watching pornography, and you're making out with someone who's actively having sex,
But that's...
and it's a sin of indifference, which is a mortal sin in the Catholic Church. So that's a mortal sin too. I'm actually blown away that you're a Christian, 33 years old. You didn't know this. If you're being serious, I think you're kidding though, right? You are
No.
kidding. Okay, wow, okay.
I don't know for sure.
Wow, okay, well.
Because you're not...
But you know porn is a sin, right? Are you 100% sure on that?
I know that...
Objectively. Christianity, Catholicism,
Okay, I don't get why you're trying to... you're getting
Mormonism.
so in my face.
Okay, let's just...
I think you get too into it. And you're also a dick.
Well, it's on
And you
video.
have a sin of pride.
Yes.
All of these
That's
things are
bad.
it. But anyways, I think that Jesus most likely said, well, for the sake of, am I speaking as someone that needs to be a Christian or someone that's just speaking logically?
You could do both.
Okay. As a person that's speaking logically, I think maybe 98% chance, 99% chance that Jesus said this, and as a Christian, I say 100% chance maybe,
Okay.
that if you look at a woman with lust in your heart,
Gotcha.
that is adultery.
Gotcha. So if you're... So I got you. I think I know what you're saying.
I know
so
that.
if you walk by...
Or I think I know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And there's
I
some
don't know
truth...
about
There's some
other
truth...
shit in it beyond that,
Okay, okay.
to be honest.
But if you're actively looking up pornography on a computer, watching people have sex,
But what if you're not?
can you do that without lust, in your opinion?
But what if you're just watching them have sex, or what if you're
Yeah.
not even really paying attention to the fact that she's getting doggy style? You're just focusing on kissing her.
Okay.
How's that a sin? I have a sick brain.
You have a sick brain?
Well, human beings, you know what? I think human beings are designed to be sick.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't
They're
think so.
sick brains.
I don't think so.
Dude, people talk to 15-year-old kids at bowling alleys.
Oh my gosh.
That was so good. You just got... You got owned there.
Stupid. It's so stupid.
How is it stupid? That is really a
You're
sick
calling me sick for evangelizing to a 15-year-old.
Yeah, he's underage, you freak.
Okay.
You can't be talking to 15-year-old kids.
He's a soul.
You're not at Sunday school, dog.
It's just a sick world, is what it is.
Well, also, it is,
It's just a sick world.
but you shouldn't be talking to kids. Unless you're, like, at Sunday school, dog. My personal opinion. If it's an adult, that's one thing. If it's Kristen Moore, sure. She needs to be someone to weird her out. That's something that she needs. And she's a grown woman. And you know her for many years. But if it's a 15-year-old kid, I don't know about that. I don't think you should do that. Right?
Talk to him about Jesus?
Just randomly, yeah. I don't think so. Even these 18-year-olds were weirded out. 19 and 20-year-old dudes were weirded out by you.
Well, it's not illegal to talk to people. I'm not breaking the law by sharing
I'm just
Jesus.
saying, it's weird as hell.
Okay, that's fine. It's weird as hell.
I'm just saying, what's weird is weird, dude.
Do you like the movie Alice in Wonderland?
Never seen it. I do want to see it.
It's a weird movie.
I think I would like it.
She goes into a world of foolishness, and she gets lost there for 90%, 95% of the movie. So it's just going to be you. I watched it. I was tripping out when I watched it. I was off, I guess you could say, off my meds with schizophrenia. But hey.
But isn't that just an accurate depiction of what a woman's life is in the world? Just pure foolishness. Name a woman that's like really wise.
You know, I talked to a guy today at the bowling alley. And
different guy.
a Christian, he was legit Christian. He was bowling with us. He was a two-hander, but
The guy that pays you off.
he was a two-hander, 242 high
The
game.
guy that pays you?
No, on the other team.
Oh.
He threw the ball flat sometimes, and I've never seen anything like. Well, I have actually. I've seen it multiple times now. I never had a problem getting the ball off my hand the exact same way every time. Even the first 5 minutes I bowled, I was ripping it out. I wasn't very accurate, but these guys are missing at the ball. Anyways, I said, hey, I was like, hey, cool, you know. And then I said, God bless, and I love God. And I was like, hey, are you a Christian? He's like, yeah. I said, what's your favorite Bible verse? He says, John 11:35. Just kidding. And I said, it's making me cry. It's making the Savior cry.
What is John 11?
Jesus wept.
Oh.
And
That's a good
then I was talking to him. He had other verses, and then I said, "What's your favorite book in the Bible?" And when he named a book, I was gonna start.
So you asked him, are you Christian?
Yeah. He said yes, but I really believed him because of his nonverbals.
You
And
said, what's your favorite book?
and he says Exodus, and I said what? I was pissed, and he goes, "Yeah, well, the story is and this, and I don't even know if I've read the book of Exodus cover to cover. It's so horrible. Like, and
Why?
so now I'm just like, well, pretty much all the Old Testament is boring. You know, I don't like it and whatever. But so then I said, why? And then he starts like saying the stories. I was like, why? And then I said,
Why do you have to be so weird?
and then I said, because it's on video and it's a story. Oh my God. And then, then I said, and then he says, well, and then I said, why not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? For your favorite. And then he says, well, yeah, I mean, it's bit, you know, I was like, there's Jesus. And then he's like, yeah, it's better, but, you know, like, there's this. And then he's like, my name is Mark, you know? And Exodus, and I said, oh, intimacy over quality. And he says, wow. And then he says, yeah, I guess my favorite's John. And I said, what? I was like, did I just get you to change your favorite book in the Bible with a look? I didn't know I had that much power over you. And he says, oh my gosh, because I don't know this guy. And then we went back bowling. And then after about 15 minutes, or after the league ended, he did open play next to us. And we started talking about Church of Christ Latter-day Saints and Book of Mormon and all this stuff. And then he's like, I just want to tell you, I'm done with the philosophy because I'm like, I just want to bowl and I'm like burned up and I'm like fried out. So thank you, because it's just too much energy, right? Too much.
Yeah, dude, you're way
For-
too much.
for,
You're way too bad.
For
Someone really needs to bludgeon you with a bowling ball, dude. You're so annoying. You need to learn. Well. Like, those kids were good. Way better than the first missionaries I met.
Yeah.
But also that's because they didn't have their chaperone with them.
Mm-hmm.
But they were chill. That's the thing that you lack. You're not chill.
KNOT?
N-O-T.
Mm.
So it's just like, you're kind of like ruining your whole message, even if you have good messages.
Mm-hmm.
It's a waste. Because your delivery sucks.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. Because you just get too excited.
Well,
You gotta relax a little bit.
you're one of the few Christians out there that hates God and hates religion. They love God and love religion. So they're
Okay, maybe that... But
they
even
can-
that guy was like telling you it's too much.
at the bowling alley.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And he's Christian. Imagine the people that are not really Christian, what they're dealing with when you're going off.
It's a different
It's
conversation
bad.
with non-Christians.
No,
There's
it's
different.
probably bad.
But it's different topics, and
But
I'll go.
it's still too rapid fire.
But I'll come down to their level. I'll be.
Really?
It's swine before swine. Yes,
I don't think so.
that's what bridge building is. I talked to Tom. He's atheist, so guess what I feed him? In between, I give him a lot of anti-religion jokes. Okay, I bash the Bible. I bash God. Well, not so much God, but I'll bash stuff, and I'll project the fruits of the Spirit for him, and then I'll get him to, and then I'll throw in some anti-atheist jokes and make fun of him, and you build, and he trusts me more than the Bible, so the Bible's not going to do it. I mean, when I quote the Bible, it's just he goes, whew. He loses respect for me when I quote the Bible. So he's just kind of how should I say this? Retarded. So Proverbs 26 verse 5. If you ever talk to a retard, be retarded. That's what I do. Swine. That's called swine before swine. Proverbs 26 verse 5 goof text. If you're talking to a retard, talk in a retarded way.
Like,
And 1 Corinthians 9 verse 20 as well.
you just talk too fast.
That too. Well, that's when I'm spirit-filled. I talk too fast.
You talk too fast. You're going through too many topics.
Mm-hmm.
You
John,
just suck at it. I think that's why you
I suck at slowing down. I don't have a very good break button.
You really
Do you want to practice? So
No.
me practice slowing down with you right now. Me just slowing down.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me pray for a second in my head, and then I'll try to do it. Okay.
Okay. So it's like you're just like, hey, are you Christian? What's for babblers? Oh, you don't have fear of babblers? Do you know the definition of repentance? That's what you sound like.
When you put it like that.
Like, there's no way, like, Kristen Moore,
Mm-hmm.
you probably creeped her out.
It's good to know.
I don't know, though. Actually, she was giving you high fives and everything,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if she liked you. I think she probably didn't. Because you're a little goofy. I don't know. You should ask her out. You said you would never do it, though, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I only get one wife.
Zero.
Polygamy is banned.
0 or 1.
If I say yes to Kirsten, I'm saying no to Paige. Does that make sense?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
So I don't want to do that. At least with polygamy, you can marry every girl on earth.
But did they officially ban it?
Yes.
In the Brigham Young chapter?
It was whatever, 18, 70, 1890, whatever it was, that when they got rid of it. ChatGPT would know.
Brigham Young got rid of it? Isn't that the main branch?
Yeah, yes. That's what you learned from me, right?
Probably, yeah.
The Brighamites. With the
And you
Brighamites.
think that I'm not a good religious person. I remember all your shit.
You're a good listener. That's good. I like that.
They banned it.
There was a revelation after Brigham Young.
By
Brigham Young had between 30 and 81 wives.
Brigham,
Or 80,
by
yeah, 81.
Brigham Super Young? Brigham had 80?
Potentially, yeah.
Oh,
The more the merrier. As
he was
I say.
getting it in.
The more the merrier. Because it's righteous polygamy. So, if God tells someone to get married, 3 is better than 2, 2 is better than 1. But with Solomon, he was commanded to have 1. and he kept messing
Really?
up, and he kept stacking more unrighteous. Yeah, he had. It's called unrighteous.
Where
Balaam.
was he come in to have one?
God told him there was a lot of land. First Kings, I believe it was the Old Testament, and he didn't want that one. He wanted more girls, so he had 300 concubines and 700 wives.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fucking. That means he could fuck 3 chicks a day and then never do the same one. Well, no. He could do 2.5 per day and never have the same one twice in a year. That's crazy. I wonder what that would be like. Isn't that crazy to think about? It's
Well, I was thinking about it like that. It's more how many friends you have, and there's a lot of people.
so. What if
More
okay,
people, you know.
What if Paige Zollinger got married?
Mhm.
Then would you try to hit on?
Hmm.
Then would you want to marry Kirsten Moore?
No, she would not be my second pick.
What if she was down and you don't know if anyone else is down?
I think she is. I don't think she has any deal breakers. She might, if I were to really look into her, but she has so many red flags that it's just. I would rather be single, I think, and
Really?
it's a lot of work for a broad like that. Now, if I fell in love with her, because there's godliness, religion, right, personality, beauty, and love, and the most important is godliness. The second most important would be love. Third most is religion. And then generic personality traits. You could go either way with beauty and personality. They're both pretty worthless. Probably personality. The way I'm feeling right in this moment, I would take personality over beauty. But they're both trash. Adelpha had an extremely over 10 out of 10 personality. Over 12, 13, what do you want to call it? 13.5 out of 10 personality rating. And she was 9 out of 10 beauty. But she was a 2 godliness and a 1.3 religion. So she was. What I loved the most about her was we always knew where we were. We were never in a relationship. It was always a joke from the beginning because she's an atheist. So I had the deal breaker with her, and she has a pretty open worldview. She always wanted to marry me and get engaged and stuff, but it was always 0% for me. She was my homie. She was my bro. But so I would take Kirsten over Adelpha. Although, I might flirt. Oh man, that's a close one actually.
You think?
Because Kirsten's lukewarm with a firewall, and Adelpha, I think I could
She's
flirt
hot.
I think I could flirt to convert actually with Adelpha, and I know her so well.
But
she has a boyfriend. Let's just say the boyfriend just dies in a car accident, and then she wants to hang it and stuff. If I could feel them both out, I might take Adelpha over the fake Christian. Adelpha's a genuine atheist, but she's more of an agnostic because she was like, I believe in a balance in the universe. I was like, what the So she believes in some sort of supernatural for it, and she's kind of a sweetheart. She doesn't have the arrogance that Kirsten has. Kirsten would be high maintenance. Adelpha Kirsten would demand the pants, and Adelpha would want the pants. So Adelpha's better in that. Adelpha's more submissive, even though she's not submissive at all. Kirsten's, I think, worse. I don't think Kirsten would be like, oh, wow, my husband said it, so that's how it's going to happen. She'd be like, no, it's her way or the highway. And I don't think, I can't Bible bash Adelpha, But it's like, with, yeah, whew. I wouldn't want to marry either one. I'll tell you that.
Really?
This is a dilemma. Yeah, I would rather
Would you
be.
rather be single?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what Proverbs 21:19 says. Better to be in a desert. But when I say which one's better, I'm saying which one's worse. I think Adelpha would be worse in a lot of ways, and Kristen would be worse in a lot of ways.
What about?
I'd probably take Kirsten, actually. I just flipped. Kirsten is a higher...
Is she actually
Yeah,
Christian, or she just kind of says that?
Yeah, I just thought of a lot more...
Is she actually Christian? Or she
I just
kinda-
searched for more depth. There's once I went to Proverbs 21:19, so Kirsten is not as gross. Like, she's not as wicked. Adelpha's wicked, you know. So like Adelpha might be slightly better than Kirsten, but Kirsten's significantly less wicked. So like, oh yeah, by the way, when I talked to the 15-year-old, and I said I'm out of here. As you know, later. I said the mom came in and was like, hey, you know, beautiful weather, God's good. And then I said something about...
You said all that?
I said something about abortion and sports betting. I said...
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. I said that. And then...
To the mom.
to both of them. And then the mom gets in the car, slams the door, and then I whisper to him, I was like, oh, repentance is turning away from sin, moving towards God. Or so, I said something like that. And then I said, oh, yeah.
So you're
and I
still
told
talking to him?
Yeah, the little kid. And I said, make sure to
Mom
memorize.
walked away.
She slammed the door. She's in the driver's seat, slammed the door. He's in the trunk with putting his bowling bags in. So as I'm walking around, I was like, make sure to memorize Bible verses. And he's like, okay, you know, yeah.
You're the creepiest creep ever. Amazing.
So then I walked in, and then I start praying. I said, Lord, you know, I know you, or I said, I know you better than that kid knows you, but I'm more wicked than him. That's what I said. You know, I might know you better than him, but
Do you think Kirsten is actually Christian, or she just says it?
Says it. Yeah.
Like,
She's not born again.
Like, did her parents take her to church growing up?
Yeah, but the churches are so trash. All the churches are like, boop, boop, like the pastor doesn't believe in God. There's so many atheist pastors in America. It's like 3% of pastors they're like, dude, it's the easiest 50K ever made. You just go up
They
and...
make like 150K.
It's crazy, dude. So sick world. The reason why Latter-day Saints... There's two reasons why Latter-day Saints...
3% are not... Or are...
I would have to ask ChatGPT, but I hope it's not that much.
Only 3% are
what
Christian?
percentage of pastors in America are, let's just say, probably atheists? We got 18%. Okay, so searching. It's very difficult to pin down the exact percentage, but here's what the research suggests. Clergy Project, founded in 2011 to support clergy who've lost religious beliefs. As of 2019, they had 1,000 that's not very much. That's not as many. It depends on how many this influence through atheists and who identify as agnostic or non-supernaturalist. 2010 qualitative study, preachers who are not believers. Shared case study, atheist, agnostic pastors still preaching. Conservative, here we go. Here, ready? Uh-huh. Conservative commentators estimate the figure could be as low as 1 to 2% of all pastors on the low end, meaning it's 3. That's what they're saying. It's about 3 to 4, but it could be all the way as low as... They're saying as low... I think 1 to 2 is absurdly high. 1 in 50 pastors? They're atheists. They shouldn't be pastors. Pastoring a flock as an atheist.
What world do you live in, though? The real world, of course, there's going to be guys that are like...
In the Netherlands, research on 860 clergy showed 1 in 6 were agnostic or atheists. But this is within a secular... What the heck?
There's, of course, going to be people that did seminary, and they're like 10 years in. And
this is crazy. Non-believing clergy, paid commentators. Yeah, that's it. It's 1 to 2%. 2%.
2%. Milk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He got mad at me. Facebook.
Join.
Garage?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Said the garage is a spot.
The garage is the spot.
This is your spot, huh?
Oh.
Dude, what do you think?
Oh, I like it in here too.
You're a wild boy. You think it's like poker players. At least 2%.
Oh my gosh,
don't
I
really
just-
like poker anymore.
Oh my gosh. I just thought about Paige. She was running. She's sprinting in 5th grade. This is gonna sound creepy. But I looked at her and she was sprinting, and then she looked really hot, literally, because she had just ran so much.
She was
She was a sprinter.
heating. She was looking like she was blushing. She had red.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, a white woman with red cheek blushing.
Whew, ready?
I'll
Facebook.
bang her.
What?
Yeah, dude.
I've had enough of this. Listen
I wanna
carefully,
have
okay?
sex with her
2 Corinthians 12.
after marriage.
2 Corinthians 12:26.
I want
Top.
to marry Paige.
That
And then I want a cream pie. I want her.
is
to-
disgusting.
Why?
2 Corinthians
There's
12.
nothing disgusting about a man having sex with his wife.
No, there isn't.
Then why did you say that?
Oh, not 2 Corinthians. Wait, what? Doesn't exist.
Why can't I marry Paige?
Well, you can try. You can shoot your shot.
I
12.
can shoot my shot.
I actually posted it. No, I didn't post it on Facebook. I wrote this down because my phone died. I said, I have it written down. It's in my bowling bag right now. It says, if I'm married, I said, if my future
Hey,
wife,
look at that cockroach.
well, if my future wife wants to leave me for an unbeliever, I'll say, please stay. If my future wife wants to leave me for Elder Richardson, I'll pay for her to go away. Because
That's just gross.
sorry, I didn't say future
It's
wife.
just-
I don't think I said future wife,
Oh.
though. I said future, well, it's a rough draft anyway, but it's,
Future
you can't say,
girlfriend.
obviously you can't say future wife, but
Future girlfriend.
future girlfriend, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I want to do,
Who's Elder Richardson?
he's a guy that knows the Lord better than me, who is more knowledge at the same time.
Why the fuck
He's younger
did
than me.
they get called Elder then?
Yeah, I know, because it's a joke.
It's hilarious.
It's a joke, yeah. Because the whole idea is we want to let you guys know we're changing the definition of every word that you've ever known. And we
Oh
let,
my god.
what?
You guys are such freaks.
Yeah, we are freaks.
Seriously. Mormons are the freakiest freaks.
Yeah. It's our way of disguising things.
It's like literally like Christians except for
It's, you
fucking mentally demented sickos
yeah.
versions of
And when I was 10, I wanted to join a cult. But it had to be true.
well, you didn't get that part right.
We'll see.
What's the part of the cult that's you really think those motherfucking tablets exist or existed?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. I don't.
Even when I left the church, I used to deny I said, I'll deny the prophets, I'll deny the church, but I'll never deny seeing those golden plates. I told it to William Schill.
You never saw them.
I never saw them. How would you know, Chris?
Then why would you lie?
Why would I lie? Exactly.
You said you would never deny seeing the plates.
Figurative.
I know, but
In other words, I've gone through a lot of spiritual experiences testifying of the power of the golden plates. One just popped into my head. I've only shared it with my dad. I was at my mom's dad, my grandpa,
Where does he
house.
live?
It was in Red Bluff.
Where
And
is that? That's where
it's 3 hours north.
where Julia lives?
I've only shared this with my dad.
3 hours up north?
3 hours up north. I must have been 9, 8, 9, something like that.
So past the age of...
Yeah. And there, I was trembling. I was alone.
In
And
the
there was
woods?
this, not in the woods. It was in the house, but it was to the left, very dark. Okay. And I was just scared. I was like, whoa. And I looked down, and there's golden plates. Now, I don't know about Mormonism, even though I grew up LDS from 3 to 5, but there they are, the golden plates. And I go to...
Dinner plates.
No, they were mock Joseph Smith plates. They were the literal golden plates, but they were a replica. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that at the time. And I go down and I'm just feeling trembling like fear. And I said, whoa, and I touch the plate, and then the whole room takes. It's like the cello. It's called the bow. It was like vroom, like that. Like the whole room was like vroom, and it was like this really powerful whoa, like that. And I was just like whoa, and then I'm thinking, oh, these, and because I lifted it, and I realized if you lift this, it triggers music, like it triggers and like that sound. So I was like, oh, and I was scared, and then I left. Well, I realized later, that I mean, you can interpret that however you want.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
It was a red bluff.
It was a red bluff.
You bluffed. Boom, gotcha. You didn't even get it.
Yeah, that's funny.
You bluffed.
Red bluff.
It was a red bluff.
What do you mean?
It was a golden red bluff.
So, yeah.
None of that ever happened.
Yes, it did.
Call.
Ask my dad.
Call your red bluff.
Ask my dad. I already told him.
But that doesn't mean that it actually happened.
Yeah, well, you know what people didn't believe Joseph Smith's experiences?
I don't either.
Okay. But
I believe in Jesus Christ.
that's good. You don't. It doesn't take much to believe in that one.
I don't believe.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Even the demons believe. This whole idea that something derp atheism, that was a joke. It caught on, but it's still a minority
A lot of
view.
people don't believe it.
I know, but they're retarded, and they're actually retarded. Like,
Well, yeah, but you just said it's not. But
what I liked about the
It is
book,
hard to believe.
what I liked about the Book of Mormon at first is that it was a speculative asset, and I can apply my faith, because the Holy Bible,
it's easy to believe.
the Holy Bible's too easy to believe.
to you.
Yeah, like I believe in Santa Claus. I was wrong about that.
You're so dumb.
I sat on his lap, and my dad would never lie to me.
No, it's just the way you're saying all this. Like, I think I believe in Santa Claus too. Okay, if it's so easy to believe in Jesus, how come the majority of the world doesn't?
Because they don't want to follow him. They don't want to believe the Jordan Peterson way. Jordan Peterson says, my definition of belief, you stake your life on it. You act. That's the
He doesn't
pistis.
even believe in Jesus.
I know, he's whack. I hate Jordan Peterson. He loves money more than Christ.
You hate him.
Hate him. He's not a good representative for us. I mean, he's
think that
he's a righteous
Okay,
dude,
well,
but he's not
guess what?
Christian. Yeah.
Guess what, dude?
What?
Then it's not easy to believe.
The
in
enemy of my enemy is my friend. I like him in that sense.
Dude, you're an idiot.
I know.
Because-
1 Corinthians 1:25, your favorite verse in 1 Corinthians. I have it memorized and you don't. I have your verses memorized. It says, it says the stupidity of God is greater than the wisdom of man.
What was that one?
1 Corinthians 1:25. It says the foolishness of God is greater than the wisdom of man. And the anti-Pauline people are so retarded.
Dude, my point is this.
Yeah.
You said that it's easy to believe in Jesus, which clearly it's not.
KNOT.
No.
Because the foolishness of God...
NOT.
Really?
If it was easy to believe in, everybody would believe in it.
And that's what it used to be until the 16th century. Well,
I'm saying now, dog.
yeah. Well, I just meant compared to Mormonism. Mormonism's really hard for people.
Well, yeah, I'm not comparing it to Mormonism. You said... You didn't say that.
Let's ask ChatGPT.
You said it's easy to believe in. You didn't compare it to Mormonism.
Is Christianity easy to believe in a superficial sense? And let's see what he says. Because there's so much evidence. Manuscripts, archaeological evidence, prophecies, scientific data. Everyone and their moms know the Holy Bible's true. Yes, Christianity is easy to believe in a superficial sense, but it's hard to believe deeply and consistently. Why it's easy? The story is appealing. Loving God, forgiveness, heaven. Rules sound familiar. Be kind, don't murder, help others. Many grew up in cultural Christianity, where believing is just agreeing with general ideas. God exists, Jesus loves me, etc. You can quote-unquote believe the same way people believe in Santa as kids without much reflection or sacrifice. Deeper, real belief. That's hard. Summary. Superficial belief is easy. It costs nothing. Feels comforting. Deep, obedient belief is hard. It costs pride, comfort, sometimes your life. That's why many say they believe, but few live as disciples. Matthew 7:13-14. That's what ChatGPT said. So he's with me, and we both know he's not an
I
idiot.
call bullshit.
Really? Okay, let's write that. I call BS. Let's do our best. I call BS.
Why
That's
is it
bogus.
That the majority of the world doesn't believe in Ask ChatGPT.
Well, we have
If it's
3.3 billion. That's a lot. There's only 8 billion people, so we're around 40.
It's not 3.3. I don't think so.
How many?
It's like 2, I think.
Yeah. Oh. If that's what you're saying, then forget it. Fair. Let me tighten that up. No fluff. Is Christianity easy to believe in a superficial sense? He is. No. Even superficially, it's uncomfortable. Even casual belief forces you to accept there's one God. That offends pluralists. Jesus is the only way. That offends universalists. There's sin. That's offensive. There's hell. That's offensive. You aren't in charge. That's offensive. Even saying Jesus loves you gets pushed back in circular circles. So you already gaslighted him. You just said, because I didn't ask, like, what did we say? I call BS, that's bogus. He's like, yeah, you're right. So you're right. It's 1-1 now. You won on that one. You're right.
Dude, think about it.
You gaslighted him. Real belief is hard. Superficial belief is reject or
Think
ridicule
about it,
before
dude.
it gets deep.
The majority of people in the world are not Christian.
Look what he says at the end. Yeah, Chris is right. You're right to call bogus on the idea that even shallow belief is quote unquote easy. Christianity sounds inviting at first, but so we were both right because we had different definitions of easy. I was thinking Haley easy. You were thinking sorry. I was like,
That's a good one.
thanks. I just sorry guys on the recording people. It's just with
you're
Chris.
still-
Yeah, I'm recording all this. I got 14% left, but no one watches this. No one's gonna watch that whole thing, right? Are they? Unless they skip it. Nobody knows. When I'm president, they'll go back and watch all my old videos. But as I'm a candidate, they'll take them all down. I don't know. But the point is, I want to be recorded, like, I don't know, 13 hours plus a day, and I want to have my alone time with the Lord. But I also want to fire. Like, anyways, I do pray a little bit different. Sometimes I'll pray in tongues, but I do pray a little bit different on video just because it depends. But I don't want to censor too much, but there's gems before swine, there's pearls before swine, and if I want to hide something, I'll just go into chunks. But so yeah, you're right to call bogus. So yeah, I had Haley easy, and you were going for more like who's somewhere in between. Oh, I'm not gonna. Okay, anyways, we just had slightly different definitions of easy.
The majority of the people in the world don't believe in Jesus.
Okay, let's say that.
Isn't that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So how is it easy? Like, something that's easy to believe in is like...
If Christianity were truly easy to believe, even at a shallow level, the majority would believe, at least normally, nominally, but they don't. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
Boom.
I was thinking. I was thinking easy. Yeah. So you were thinking easy on an absolute scale, which makes sense. But if you go back to when I said it, it was a comparative easy. Mine was relative. Yours was
You were
absolute.
comparing it to Mormonism.
I was comparing it to Mormonism, yeah. Because Christianity, and I said this at my Bible study, and everyone laughed, and I said this to Sam Stark as well. Christianity is like believing in Santa Claus. Mormonism is like believing in the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny, there's no evidence. Christianity, Santa Claus, there's all sorts of evidence. There's the Everyone sings about him. He's very popular. You get the presents under the tree. You get the cookies. You get the parents brainwashing you, and you sit on his lap. There's no Easter bunny that you could sit on his lap. It's a man's claim. It's like, oh, I saw an Easter bunny over there. Yeah, sure you did. But Santa Claus, I saw him over there. Sure you did. Oh, he's there. Holy crap, right?
So you like the uncertainty and the variance of it?
Yes.
Of LDS?
Yes. The
Of
faith.
of Joseph Smith.
Yeah, yes.
His claims.
Absolutely. It's fun having a chance to be wrong and stuff like that. You know, applying my faith. Like,
Wow, you're wild.
yeah. But the more research I do, the more I realize the Easter Bunny is actually a lot closer to Santa Claus than we thought. The chiasmas give it away. The multiple authors give it away. The complexity, a thousand of times, the macroing characters, Alma being a girl's name, and then they find out, and then they get the archaeological evidence, and it's just, it's so obvious when you do a lot of research. And Jacob Hansen, he's 7-0 debater. He debated Trent Horn, who's like 65-4. And Trent Horn's like, who am I gonna debate? A Mormon? He's like, let's go, dude. And Jacob Hansen comes in, beats the fucking crap. The biggest slaughter.
Chris Hansen's cousin.
Chris Hansen gets his 8th win against a 64-4 Catholic demigod, and just, I mean, what word should I use? I'm on video. I would have used a different word if I was on video.
Right?
What? Say it again?
Chris Hansen.
Oh, yeah, Chris Hansen, yeah. Jacob Hansen is the Mormon.
Jacob Hansen.
Okay. So, Hansen...
what did he do that was... What did he say that was so...
He just knew everything, and hippity-dippity-flippity-skippity, and Trent Horn didn't do enough research. He just looked like an idiot. And Trent Horn was like, and then his nonverbals was like, I'm losing, no! And then, because the topic was, is the Book of Mormon divinely inspired? So it's not even a winnable topic for the Catholic. And he just got wrecked. There's more evidence for the golden place than there is for the resurrection of Jesus. So it's like, you guys are completely screwed, you know. But at least the atheists are consistent, but they can say, oh, well, you're both crazy. That's what the atheists say. There's some skits on Saints on Script, or Saints on Script, what are they, Keystone. Whew. Anyways, yeah, so that was a fun debate if you want to watch that. So once I watched that debate, I picked up a lot of information on the Book of Mormon that I didn't know. And I said, oh, well, it's true, you know. But just because it's true, who cares? You're still going to hell. You still have to do stuff. You still have to repent. You still have to love Jesus. You know, you know. There was this girl. She's like, I'm so excited. The church is true. I was like, what does that have to do with anything? I was like, you're gonna get judged harsher. It's worse for you. You know, because
The Book of Mormon is...
if you're Mormon, you're going deeper into hell when you die, and it's a lot harder to get to heaven. Yes, because you have the best prophets, the best books. You're held to a higher standard. If you slack off, then you'll get wrecked because of all your knowledge. You know, that's why it's better to have sex as a joke than to be a Mormon and soak. That's a Facebook post. That's bars.
You're gonna publicly post that?
Yeah, it says that in the Doctrine and Covenants, chapter 82, verse 3, goof text. I don't know, and I can prove it to you because I have this. DNC, okay, 82.3, goof
I
text.
wonder if all you Mormons are going to hell. You might all be.
For of him unto which much is given is required, and to him who sins against the greater light shall receive greater condemnation. The more knowledge, blessings, or opportunity God gives you, the more responsibility you carry. If you reject the knowledge, sinning against greater light, the consequences are more severe. Luke 12:48. You'll be beaten with many stripes, you'll be beaten with few. Oh, thank God. GT, goof text, style interpretation. Congrats on your spiritual promotion. The pay is higher, but so are the consequences when you call in wicked. In other words, it's better to fornicate as a joke than to be Mormon and soak. Basically, more light, more weight. Play dumb, less risk, but no glory. Play smart and sin, that's a goof tax nobody wants. That's what he said. It's like, okay, well, you had me tell that. Okay, so basically more light, more weight. So that's why people don't believe in God. It's because they know about Luke 12:47-48. If they know, People lie to
You know
themselves.
what it is.
Yeah, once you once you do it once.
You know what it is.
Yep. Romans 1:20 says there are no true atheists. Psalm 14 verse 1 says except for that guy over there. You like this?
Doug Polk is an atheist.
Yeah. He even mocked Pascal's wager too. That's crazy for him.
That is wild.
He's like, Pascal's wager, and I'm like, oh my god. He's making fun of someone else for using Pascal's wager. Pascal's wager, like the Pascal's wager doesn't apply. Yeah. Someone actually did Pascal's wager 2.0 because Pascal's wager is too simple, and it was like an atheist. He's like, this is the actual Pascal's wager, and they included all the religions. And then all the different breeds of the supernatural realm that could possibly be out there and the matrices and stuff. And it was just this psychotic thing. It was like, well, here's what happens if you go here and then go here. And here's what happens if God's bad. Then this religion, then you're screwed. And then if Christianity's wrong, you'd be Christian. And then Islam. And then it was like...
You're overcomplicating it.
That was the whole point.
Oh.
It was showing how Pascal's wager is dumb and it was a more accurate version too as well.
What if you just adjusted
Oh, I lost the Holy Spirit.
Pascal's wager
Hmm?
to say that you have to believe in eternity?
Yeah, they believe in eternity. It's just
They don't. Some of them don't. I don't think Doug Polk does.
for the Pascal's wager.
No, not for Pascal. I'm saying
Oh.
believing I think the biggest argument is saying that you don't know what God or religious
Religion is true. Oh,
whatever which religious beliefs to have. But if you just adjusted it to say like, you need to believe in heaven and hell, and you need to pick the best thing, that you need to live the best way to maximize your chances of going to heaven, and minimize your chance of going to hell. That would be a better wager to me.
but the whole Pascal's wager, it is the weakest argument for Christianity
Is the strongest argument
for
to
you.
believe in God.
for you.
Oh.
It's very selfish, and it doesn't even work because God's not. He's like, oh, you only love me because of this bet, and then he throws you into hell as you believe.
He can't do that.
Oh my gosh.
He can't do that.
He can't overpower John 3:16. Mormons, more like morons.
You're a dumbass. He can't be like, you only love me because I told you to. That's literally why else would we love him?
Oh my god.
He can't be like,
you have sins I cannot relate
you're
to.
using logic to make the decision to
Chris.
love me? Oh my god, I'm sending you to hell.
I wish your view of God was as big as your chastity.
My what?
I wish your view of God was as big as your chastity.
No, you don't.
It'd be amazing.
I'd be a moron.
Would you?
I was. The bigger my view of God was, the dumber I was.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I thought God was big, that he would be doing things for me and helping me and not letting Philip fuck on me and all these things. Instead of like in a UFC fight, protect yourself at all times. That's what you gotta do. That's why you need a nice medium to small view of God. People like you are the problem.
The Christians.
The people like you get to be stay-at-home sons, and your dad lets you just trash the whole...
Stay-at-home sons. That was hilarious. I love that. I'm a stay-at-home son. I'm a millennial.
You're
Oh, that was good, Chris.
The stay-at-home sons like you are the problem.
Wow.
You know? Of course you think God is great. I mean, you just throw your socks anywhere. You throw your napkins anywhere. You just leave crumbs everywhere.
Wow.
You're living life. Of course you think God is big.
Okay.
You know? You're living life.
Well,
So
I have gone through some drama mentally, and I've gone to the hospitals. I've gone to jail. I've been wrecked. I've been, and not financially, really, but so much.
in jail,
But just demons, lots of demons, and big demons, and little demons, and massive
but the
demons.
demons were your fault.
Mm-mm. No, they're the ones. Stephen Paradise told
You're
me.
wicked.
No, Stephen Paradise says there's one little demon for every 300 Justins, but there's 77 big demons for every one Eric. There's one little demon assigned to 300 Justins, 77 big demons for one big Eric. He says
Well, you don't have to-
we respect the guy with more demons.
You don't have to work. You don't gotta do shit. You just bang your head against a car.
Yeah, but
You're
it might
living life.
not always be like this, Chris.
It probably will.
God could put me through whatever he wants me to put me through, you know?
And you'll still love him.
Hopefully,
I
yeah.
think he's big.
Hopefully. It's hard. Do not boast about tomorrow. You do not know what a day may bring forth. Proverbs chapter 27, verse
That's
1.
true. You don't know the pain you're gonna go through.
No.
Eventually,
If it's too easy, I'll pray for pain. If it's too painful, I'll pray it away. Simple.
that's the one thing that I think.
And I'll say,
I think
if
the
it's your will, let the cup pass from me.
I think
And
your
you know, God.
doctrine is bad.
Really? Like what? Go for it.
You
Name one thing.
You think that just because God is big, that he acts big?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by big?
Just because God,
How much time do we have left? 13%. Okay.
just because God probably is omnipotent, doesn't mean he uses that.
Right.
So, like I said before, he could be as big as Shaquille O'Neal, but he plays like Nate Robinson. You know, they say that in basketball, that they play, that they don't, you know.
So my doctrine is bad because God might be sandbagging?
Yeah.
I have that in my doctrine.
You do?
Yes.
You didn't tell me
Absolutely.
that.
Oh. God can sandbag for sure.
He's definitely sandbagging.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an open theist. That's sandbagging his knowledge.
What?
I don't think God knows the future.
Oh, yeah.
And
You
if
did
it,
say
and if I know he knows it infinitely, but he doesn't know it
I
precisely.
think he's definitely sandbagging.
Because you're sacrificing way too much to win too little. People are like, well, I want him to know who wins the championship in 2041 at 100% frequency. It's like, are you sure?
Why not?
Because then you
It's boring for
because
him.
then you auto embrace fatalism. You fall into horrible philosophical paradoxes, and people are like, yeah, I don't care, I'll take it. Fatalism, yeah.
It has nothing to do with, it's only boring to him.
Who?
God.
Yeah. And people want that, and that's what I want to put God through. I want to put him through a movie. We're puppets, and God knew everything we were going to do. 8,000 years ago when he made us. It's a movie, and we're puppets in a play, and you can't change the script, and you can't move, and God can't interact, and God can't hear our prayers, and God can't forgive. It's a bunch of nonsense. And 95% of Christians believe in that crap. So why would I listen to any of you when you guys are that dumb? Right? I believe in God's active and complete knowledge based in a temporally present perception of reality, accounting for the various epistemic categories of knowledge in light of its cognate expressions. And that's just a little bit of it.
I didn't even follow that. Say that again?
I believe in God's dynamic omniscience, which is God's active and complete knowledge based in a temporally present perception of reality, accounting for the various epistemic categories of knowledge in light of its cognate expressions.
What is epistemic
ChatGPT, did you get that?
and cognate?
Epistemic. What does it mean with depth? With depth. Epistemic comes from the Greek Episteme, meaning knowledge. In a deep philosophical sense, epistemic refers to anything related to knowledge, belief, truth, or the justification of those things. How do we know what we know? The limits of knowledge, the justification for beliefs, the reliability of evidence. Recognizing your knowledge is limited and fallible. How well your beliefs is supported by evidence. The degree of confidence or uncertainty you assign to a belief. The idea that knowledge can transfer. If you know A and A implies B, you should know B, but this is debated. Practical terms, someone says we need epistemic humility. They mean stop acting like you're 100% sure knowledge is fragile. This is an epistemic problem. They mean the issue is about how we can know, not just what we believe. Epistemic, knowledge-centered, moral, ethics-centered, pragmatic, action or result-centered. Example, I have epistemic reasons to believe he's lying. The evidence or reasoning points that way, not just my gut or feelings. Biblical undercurrent, optional depth. In Scripture, light often refers to epistemic clarity. God reveals knowledge, but rejecting it brings epistemic darkness. Hence D&C 82, verse 3. More light, more epistemic responsibility, greater condemnation if rejected. Epistemic means tied to knowledge, how it's gained, justified, doubted, or limited. And the word often signals humility, caution, or precision about truth claims.
I don't follow that at all.
So anything that has anything to do with knowledge, you can swap, you can throw in an epistemic in there. That's what it says. Let me tell them that. So anytime I want to talk about knowledge, I just say epistemic. I just throw an epistemic in there. Pretty much.
Okay.
He says, yeah, pretty much. He says, yeah, pretty much. One time I was at Bible study and this guy was bashing Calvinism, then the other guy was defending it, even though he doesn't even know what it is. Then it bash, but goes back, forth, and then finally, and they're all hibbity, dibbity, flippity, skippity, and then finally I jump in there and I said, Calvinism is man. I said, Calvinism is man's theology based on the Bible, re-injected back into the Word of God in a wicked way. And the kid right away, yeah, pretty much. And then the senior pastor over there is like, what the heck? What the heck? But it was something that I wrote down like a week earlier. When to use epistemic? When you're talking about the structure, limits, justification of knowledge. Focusing on belief.
Okay, let me ask you this.
When not to use it feels forced. When you're just talking about information or facts without questioning the truth. When you're casually sharing knowledge without discussing how you know it. Here's a bad example. I have an epistemic knowledge of the baseball score. Weird. Just weird. Just say you know the score, dude. Pro level tip. Use epistemic to frame the quality or justification of knowledge, not the raw possession of facts. What's your epistemic status on that claim? What's your knowledgeable status on that claim? How confident are you? If you sprinkle epistemic in the right places, you sound like someone who doesn't just know, you know how you know. Once you do it once, you know what it is. All right.
Why is God such a baby?
Because he was born in a manger.
That was good.
Only God is good. Luke 18:19. He went to the land of Jerusalem, and then he took a Bethlehem. He was born in Bethlehem of Mary, a virgin.
Okay. Then those of you who escape will remember me among the nations to which they will be taken captive. How I was hurt by their adulterous hearts, which turned away from me, and by their eyes, which played the prostitute with their idols. And they will loathe themselves in their own sight for the evils which they have done, for all their abominations. Why is God such a drama king? It's like, dude, you could
He used to be.
You could just could have just created the human race better. You ever think about doing that? Just doing a better job of creating?
That was the whole idea with the flood. He flooded the simulation, started over with Noah.
Ezekiel is after Noah.
Yeah,
So he
Genesis
started over, but
Genesis 6
nothing changed.
Genesis 6 verse 9, Noah was a righteous man, just in God's eyes.
Okay, so
Perfect.
nothing changed. My nigga.
Well, there's a rainbow now, so he can't do the flood trick. You didn't know that? The rainbow is there as a covenant.
That's not what I'm talking about, dog.
Okay.
I'm
Why are
talking
people
about
still
the
wicked?
Hearts of men
Are wicked.
probably haven't gotten any better from pre-Noah.
They say it's worse now than the days of Noah.
Yeah, then it's worse.
It's worse.
So obviously,
That's what all the prophets say, or the non-LDS prophets.
It didn't work.
True.
It's hard to see it being that much worse than pre-Noah.
There's just so much free will out there.
That much better than pre-Noah.
People
I told you,
people
will.
misuse it.
Yeah, I told you, there's too much free will.
Hmm.
You even agreed. You were like, "Oh, he should have given us less free will."
Yeah, I told the guy that today. Actually, the Christian. We were talking about LDS. He said the Book of Mormon was false. He's like nah. He's like gross. And he goes, well, it is because I asked him, what do you think about the Quran? He's like, I don't know anything about it. Book of Mormon. And he goes, yeah. I said, did you write it? I said, Joseph Smith write it? And he goes, yeah, no, I don't know. And I said, okay, well, I know everything. And but then I was just like, as I was burying my testimony, I was like, this is cringe because I've only met him for 7 minutes or 12 minutes. And then as I'm speaking, I'm just like, I'm trying to help him. Like, and then he said, do you go to Bible studies? I was like, no, but I'd love to go to one, small group. And he's like, yeah, it's a Bible study from belief. And I said, okay, well, I'm a lot more multi-religious than most of our members, right? And then he was like, he's like, his mind was blown. And he's like, huh? And he goes, what the heck is that? And then I said, well, are you 100% sure of everything you believe? And he goes, there's a faith element, and that's how faith works. And he's like, and I said, oh, okay. Yeah, I agree. Faith element. There's a faith element. But here's the thing. I have faith that I'm wrong in things. And he was just like, holy crap. And he goes, what the heck? Never even thought about, how are you doing that? And I was like, because I've been wrong in the past. And I was 100% sure it's Santa Claus, and I was wrong, And,
how did you even find out?
And I said, humans are fallible. Humans are feeble.
How did you even find out that you were wrong about Santa?
I was in the car with my dad and my stepmom. In the middle was Nicole, Shannon, and then Justin. It was me and Nicole in the back, I believe. And then it was Shannon, Justin in the middle. And then it was Dad and stepmom.
Did Shannon and Justin have a thing going on?
What?
Like
where's this question?
You and Nicole had a thing going
Oh
on?
my gosh. No.
You did.
Really?
You put her head in her lap.
I put what? Say it again.
In her lap.
No, I put my head on her
In her bosom.
on her leg. Because I was tired.
Lap.
Yeah, I slept on her. And then, what was I going to say? So then my dad goes, he says, he just got an epiphany. And he goes, he looks at me and he goes, oh, so just so everyone knows, Santa Claus doesn't exist. Like that, right? Santa Claus, it's not a thing, it doesn't exist. And then everyone at the same time, except for me, they say, yep. And I was like, what?
Wait, he just said, I just want to say that Santa Claus doesn't exist?
Yeah. He just got an epiphany.
Wow.
Just so everyone makes sure that it was a joke, so it was a joke. It was like, multi-year joke.
And everybody else
It was a prank.
knew.
Like, yeah, and they already knew. And
How old were you? Like 17?
and then I had to make a decision. Mark Twain, he said, easier to fool a man than to convince him he's been fooled. So I didn't want, but it was like, what am I going to do? Fight my
This
dad?
is when you were like...
But my dad came out of the closet.
This is when you were like 19?
It was a bronze lie. So from his perspective, because I asked him, I was like, why did you do that? He's like, oh, it's fun. It's a prank.
This is when you were 19?
No, I was 10 years old. Or 9 years old.
You
9.
mean 10 plus 9?
Yeah.
Oh!
19.
You-
And that's when I knew that I knew that. And then-
you're the oldest person in the history of.
But I had to know for myself, so I went to the North Pole.
You're the oldest dude to ever find out Santa Claus wasn't real.
Mm,
You were 19, dog.
mm-hmm. Joke's on you guys. I got so many presents. I got so many presents for my 18th, my 17th, my 16th.
Oh, man.
I asked my mom one time, okay? I said, Mom, is Santa real? And she looks up and she says, well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you one thing for sure. If you don't believe, you're not getting any presents. And I said, what? And I took
Mom's
that.
evil. She really is evil.
Oh. She didn't think she was being evil. She thought that was the right answer. And then she said, I thought you were smarter than that.
That actually,
Because I still didn't figure it out from that
she
statement.
knew she was being evil.
No. She's like, well,
Dude.
she
Okay,
wanted
what do you think about this?
Yeah.
This is a theory
Okay.
that the worst people in the world don't even think that they're good people.
How many?
That a lot of the worst people in the world think that they are one of the better people.
Absolutely. That's what Proverbs 20 verse 6, Proverbs 20 verse 9, Proverbs 16 verse 2. It says that. Like let's do a few. Proverbs 20 verse 6. It says this. Good call. Ready for this, Chris?
Yeah.
Most men will proclaim every one his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find? Let's try another one. Proverbs 20 verse 9. Let's do this one. Who can say, I have made my heart clean? I am pure from my sin. How about this one?
Mm-hmm.
Proverbs 16 verse 2. Let's try another one. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirits. Let's do another one. Proverbs 30 verse 20. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Here we go.
You say them.
Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth and saith, I've done no wickedness. It's crazy, huh? This verse describe.
Blowjob.
Yeah,
That's what eateth and wipeth her mouth.
yeah. Well, she eateth, meaning
Eateth cock.
she can. Yeah, exactly. Or she consumes the fornication, and then she says, I did nothing wrong.
She eateth cock.
She eateth cock. She eateth cock.
Is that what Adelpha thinks?
What? Yeah, absolutely. Adelpha is a great example of this. She's a pure Proverbs 30 verse 20 woman. You defile your conscience in a certain sin, and then eventually you think it's good. This verse describes the casual, shameless attitude of someone caught in sin, specifically adultery. She sins, satisfies her desire, parentheses, eateth, cleans up the evidence, wipeth her mouth, and denies any wrongdoing. It's a picture of a blatant self-justification and conscious denial, showing how sin hardens a person to the point they feel no guilt. It warns about the danger of deceitful appearances and hidden behind everyday normalcy and denial. So, what do I say now? That's it, right?
That whores think that they're good people. Is that what the point is? What is
Yeah, like
What was that verse again?
corn stars.
What was that verse?
Proverbs 30 verse 20.
Yeah.
They think there's nothing wrong with it. They don't know what's wrong with it. They think they're doing
I think
the
it's a good thing.
They think it's pornographic art, you know. And
I think they're making love.
yeah, pretty much.
What was the first verse
And-
you said?
Proverbs 16 verse 2. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirits. So the Lord knows the truth, who's good, who's bad.
What's the second verse?
Proverbs 20 verse 9. Who can say I've made my heart clean? I'm pure from my sin. That one's not as good. But this one's exactly what you said. Most men on earth, honestly, will proclaim everyone his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
What was that one?
Proverbs 20, verse 6. Most men will proclaim every one his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find? Most people love to talk about their own goodness, achievements, or good intentions, but a truly faithful, reliable, trustworthy person, someone who quietly lives with integrity, is rare. It's exposing human nature. Self-promotion is easy, but actual faithfulness is hard to find. Real character reveals itself over time, not in boasting.
So that's my point. Your mom is wicked as fuck,
But she just repented.
but I don't think she really believed it.
When? Oh, recently?
Yeah.
She does.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
You think you're closer to the Lord than my mom?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think women are delusional. They don't know how to repent.
Interesting.
I've never heard my mom. My mom said sorry to me like you could probably count it on, and you could probably count it on one hand the times in my life that my mom apologized for stuff.
Okay.
And she did a lot of messed up stuff.
Okay.
And my mom is one of the best women in the world, probably. So what does that tell you about other women? They're trash.
Right.
Your mom, I don't think she even know what the definition of a repentance is.
She does.
No. Did you ask her?
Yes, I did.
You asked her. You said, "Are you Christian?
Yes.
What's your favorite Bible verse?"
James 1:19.
Does she really know?
Yes, she
How much
does.
you want to bet? I'll bet you.
111? Is that what you're going to say? $111?
Sure.
Okay.
That she doesn't know it. Word for word.
Word for word?
Word for word.
So I'll just call her and
What's
say,
the verse?
I'd say, hey, Mom,
Wait,
what's
sorry, what's the verse?
James
This can't
1:19.
be too short.
James 1:19? I don't want to do word for word. There was that.
Alright, so no.
Okay, she's
deal.
just like, okay.
The point is, women aren't able to comprehend what they're even saying, dude.
It's, be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry.
Dude, women aren't even capable of comprehending. In fact, I don't even think God cares if they. I don't even think.
I
God,
know, but some of them are really beautiful. And they're
Okay.
precious. They're precious as well.
Yeah, but
Let's ask ChatGPT. Are women better than men at anything? Let's see if you can think of something. Because he's pretty smart, you know. Yes, there are areas where statistically women are outperform men. Verbal fluency and language skills. Women often develop language skills earlier. They perform better in verbal memory, reading comprehension, and communication tasks. 2. Emotional intelligences and empathy. Studies show women score higher in recognizing emotions, reading nonverbal clues, and emphasizing with others. 3. Multitasking. They're better at tick-tocking. They're talking and tick-tocking. Some research suggests women handle task switchings better under pressure, though this is debated. Definitely debated because I played video games, Tetris, and Guitar Hero, and, well, there's, anyways. Pain tolerance. Women endure chronic pain better in many cases. Pain perception is complex and context.
Doesn't do with being intelligent.
Longevity. I just said, are women better than men at anything? That's all I said. They're more longevity. They live longer than men due to biological and lifestyle factors. It doesn't even mention war. That's why men kill each other. Immune system
That's a
function.
good point.
Women have stronger immune responses, less susceptible to certain infections, higher risk for autoimmune diseases, fine motor skill. What? Women tend to outperform men in tasks for. They have more crashes but less fatal crashes. That's what it was. Because guys are better at driving, but they take more risks.
And drive fast.
And drive fast, yeah. Caveat. These are averages. Main differences are small. Advantages, okay. Trade-offs, balance. Men tend to outperform women in other areas like physical strength, upper body power, and spatial reasoning. The Bible also reflects contemporary strengths. For example, 1 Peter 3:7 describes women as the quote-unquote weaker vessel physically. But that comes with instruction to honor them, implying unique value, not inferiority. Yes, there are measurable areas where women tend to have natural advantages. Both sexes have God-given strengths to find, comment, not compete. And the Christian that I met today, his name was Mark, M-A-R-C. And the only reason why I knew his name is because of photographic memory. Not because I actually know his name. But because I just took a picture of the back of his shirt. That picture popped up because I was like, how do I find his name? I was like, oh, there it is. And he,
you could just look up at the goddamn lane.
ooh, did you just drop a goddamn?
Yeah.
The goddamn lane? Yeah, that was vain.
No.
Was that an unrighteous third commandment breaking Reno?
Goddamn is in.
Ugh, let's ask him.
That's not saying the
What was
Lord's
it?
name in vain.
Well, I'm not a big Lord's name in vain guy. I think there's bigger fish to fry, and I think God.
It's just more of like
There's
you're
a lot
being
of-
so egotistical about knowing someone's name.
But I don't think we should say goddamn lane on video
Why not?
because it's the
America.
because it's so GD lame.
Dude, it's just you're so annoying.
The
man.
third commandment of
It's
the.
hard to keep it together with.
It's been said in the past, do not use the Lord's name in vain. But I say
not
unto
Lord's
you,
name in vain.
but I say unto you, if you don't have the Lord's name in your veins, you have not been born again.
That's a good one.
You like that? It gives us a license to
Dude.
sin.
No one cares about your story about Mark, dude.
Okay,
I'm
Well,
just being honest.
all I was gonna say is, what's your least favorite Bible verse? I said that to him, and he says, probably First Corinthians. He says, probably 2 Corinthians, where it says women can't be senior pastors. And I said, it's 1 Timothy 2:12, idiot. How do you not have that? How do you not have your least favorite Bible verse memorized?
You're so dumb, dude.
And it doesn't say senior pastors. That's what some idiot
Also,
interpreted.
That should be somebody's favorite Bible.
Yes, thank you. It's probably Julia's. It's probably Julia's second favorite.
Really?
Yeah, it's Julia's second favorite.
That's good. At least
Oh.
she knows
She's a sexist male chauvinist.
at least she knows it.
Oh,
At least she knows
she's not a misogynist, but she's a sexist for sure, and she's a male chauvinist.
Dude, your mom doesn't even know which apostle wanted to touch Jesus's wounds for proof.
You don't need that for salvation.
Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, well, you do.
She
It's called knowing.
she cussed out a woman who loved her dog more than God. That's a good sign. How can you love your
you
dog?
think that your mom knows who Doubting Thomas is?
Yes,
You do.
I do.
Call her.
You want me to call her?
It's too late, isn't it?
Titus 1:16 in the morning. Titus?
Dude, do you really think women are capable of understanding epistemic
Epistemic categories of
Do you
knowledge.
really think women are capable of understanding all of these deep spiritual concepts? Be real, son. That's my point.
Differently. They have a different take on it. That's what David Bednar was saying.
Be real, son.
Someone asked a question and they said something
You
like,
think they care? The biggest part of it is that they think they care at all.
yeah.
You think they care one bit of an iota about the concept in the first place? That's the biggest part.
Uh-huh.
Because
Yeah.
I think we both know the answer to that.
Right.
If they cared, do you think they could understand it? Probably. If they really cared and they really took the time to research stuff and think things through, they could probably have a pretty good understanding about it. But the reality is they do not care at all.
LDS girls care more. A lot more. They're special sisters.
Maybe.
I'm telling you, they're special.
Maybe some of them.
I've only met one sister
Julie
missionary.
doesn't know shit.
I've only met one sister missionary that I didn't like.
You're talking about the missionaries only, though.
I know. But I would die for her.
I'd die for her, too.
Oh, I know, but
That's a big deal.
okay.
Plus, you also don't know if you would die for her.
I do.
No? How do you know what you
I do
in
not.
the moment?
I do not. No.
N-O-T.
Oh, that's wrong. How dare you
How
put
do you
words
know
in my
what
mouth?
you do in the moment?
Well,
If fucking...
sometimes you just know.
If fucking...
The guys on the Titanic were wicked. They put the women and children in there. No problem. You know?
Yeah, but that
When the
was
Holy
19
Spirit is felt,
that was the
misogyny melts.
1920s.
The righteous are as bold as a lion, but the wicked flee when no one pursues.
If some guy came into
John 15:13. No greater love than this.
if
a man who
somebody
lays down
came
his
in
life
with
for
a
his
machine
friends.
gun into the church, you don't know what you would do.
I do not know.
You know what you might do?
I used to have
You might hippity skippity dippity flippity.
a... Yeah!
Might do.
That's what I would do.
You might. I don't know. You don't know.
It depends on my mood.
Yeah, you don't know. Even if sister, elder,
Mm-hmm.
younger,
Mm-hmm.
whoever this chick is, you might die for Paige Zollinger. But you
Ephesians-
might not. You might not die for
Ephesians 5 Ministries.
This, you might not die for this.
Huh.
Chubby.
I would.
Sister missionary.
That's what that I have a
Might not.
KNOT.
N-O-T.
Listen,
You're saying it now, but I'm saying in certain moments you might not do it.
would you be shocked
N-O-T.
if I told you I have a video on YouTube about me covering that whole hypothetical? I walk into a grocery store.
Oh my god.
I already have it covered. So in Mormonism, Jesus died for. In Christianity, Jesus died for sinners. In Mormonism, Jesus died for gods. So the Christian God died for a bunch of
You mean
dust.
spirit children?
Yeah, exactly. That are also known as sons of God, literal sons of God.
But the missionaries told me that we're not gods.
They said that. Yet we're
Hollister ones.
we're gods in potential though. We could be gods one day. We're at God's school right now. We're little gods.
If we graduate, we become gods.
Yep. It's called exaltation. Doctrine of exaltation. And then also known as theosis, Christ-likeness. 1 John 2:6, Psalm 82, verse 1-6. What's another one? I forget the other ones. I don't know if I have any other ones. But Psalm 82:6 is, "Ye are gods." You're a Bible verse guy. Bam. I remember I showed it to Julia. She's like, "What the heck is this?" And she screenshots it.
Where is Julia?
She is in Idaho.
You mean Sheeta?
Yep.
You like that?
No, it was an alley-oop. I was way ahead of you. You don't think I knew that pun? Of all the puns. Idaho? No, Idaho.
Dude,
Sheetaho.
Julia is a little hoe.
She's a little hoe. And she's like, yeah, but at least I'm better than everybody else in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
She said that.
She's better than everybody else. I think I have
She said that.
Yeah, I have a Facebook post right here on it. Take a look at this. Well, it's not exactly the same, but...
This bitch is crazy.
Ready for this? Listen to this. A new study shows that only 76% of LDS missionaries become hypocrites when coming home from their mission, down from the 81% of last year. And then it says in quotes, at least we're still better than everyone else, he says. At least we're still better than everybody else, he says.
Posted?
No, that's what I posted 6 hours ago. I said, a new study shows that only 76% of missionaries become hypocrites when they get home from their mission, down from the 81% from last year. And then in quote, at least we're still better than everyone else.
Not even that funny.
Oh, okay.